Hello everyone, welcome to Naomi's Bookshelf. Today we are doing my first vlog of Jane Austen July. So it is Canada Day. I have my Canada shirt on. Jane Austen July. July 1st is Canada Day. So it's a stat and I am home. I've had the morning just to chill and relax, which has been wonderful, but I'm ready to start Jane Austen July reading. I have gone to the library yesterday. I picked up a stack of books, or not a stack of books necessarily, but a stack of things. So I managed to get the DVDs out of the library that I was waiting for. So I have found it at the library. This is a Sense Sensibility Bollywood retelling show. So I picked this one up. I also picked up Emma, the 2010 version, and I also picked up Love and Friendship, which is the Lady Susan movie. So those are the ones I picked up. And I also had this on my radar to read since I found this series, and it is the Who Was series, What Was thing. So this is the Who Was Jane Austen, and it is a very short, kind of like middle grade nonfiction, and it is like 115 pages or something. It has pictures in it. So I'm gonna be reading this one as well for nonfiction. So I just need to figure out what I want to read first. I know this is not Jane Austen, but I do need to be reading the next Enola Holmes book, which is the case of the Cryptic Crinoline. So I need to be reading this one, I think today or tomorrow. I need to check in with my buddy Reed about this. I will be reading this one as well. So I think because I'll be reading something that's middle grade, mystery, really fast paced, I think I'm okay to start one of Jane Austen's big novels, which I do love, but they are, I don't think anyone can deny, they're a bit slower, they're a bit more enriching and a bit more meaty, and I think that that's wonderful. So I think what I'm going to start with, I might start with the one that I'm apprehensive about. And when I say this, I love all Jane Austen's works, but the one I like the least based on pure memory is Emma. Emma has been a struggle for me because of a few things. The first one is that I didn't like Emma as a character. And I know that we're not supposed to, and Jane Austen's like, I'm gonna create a character no one ever will like except for me. I know that. But I always was like, Emma is just so arrogant. I don't like her. I don't typically like people like that ever in real life who are like that kind of way. So I think I struggled with that. But I also really struggled with, and I haven't read this since I was like 22, the fact that Mr. Knightley was always so right. Like he never was wrong. He was perfect. And I just really struggled with that. I really didn't like that. So now I'm hoping reading this 8 years later, I can appreciate this more. So I'm gonna be giving Emma the shot this week. I'm gonna try, I think, because what I'm doing this month, if you haven't seen my July TBR for Jane Austen July, I will link it, but I'm reading 3 Jane Austen July, or Jane Austen novels. I keep mixing up these words, I'm sorry, but I'm reading 3 of them. So I'm thinking I'm gonna read 1 per week so I don't burn out. And so I'll read Emma this week. So this is Friday, but I'll read it until the next weekend. I might read it faster, but I'm gonna try to read this one over the first 8 days and not read another one in those first 8 days. So this will be my first Jane Austen novel to read. So yeah, Emma will be the one. And then I have some other things I'd like to read as well. Another struggle that I always have with Jane Austen July for some strange reason is that I always seem to burn out in July. And I don't know if it's because of Jane Austen July where I feel forced to read a certain type of book, but it's just something I've tracked for the last several years, and July just seems to be the year I don't want to read what I'm required to read. And it always tends to happen when I'm like, okay, it's time to pick up my retellings. So I'm gonna start with retellings early. So I'm gonna try reading The Murder of Mr Wickham this weekend. I think it'll be a fun one to pick up. Start off this weekend with a really great, hopefully fun way to read Jane Austen. Not that Jane Austen's not fun. I hope you know what I'm saying. But this one I think will be a good way to hopefully kick off this readathon, this hopefully not summer burnout, and change this fate, maybe. So these are my plans for today, or not for today, but for this week. For the minimalist, I should say, appearance. I do have my nonfiction, which is called What Regency Women Did For Us, which is an ebook. And then I will also probably be reading, like I said, Enola Holmes this week, and I have other July TBR books to read. So I will be doing these ones the best I can. This weekend, I will hopefully finish them this weekend. I have a long weekend, so I'm hoping to get a lot done reading-wise, and then I'll be able to enter into next week with having, I feel like, a good checklist done. And in my mind, I would have to make these checklists essentially of books, and I would like to, mark off that list. So this will be a good way to start off that list, and I hope that it goes well. So join me for this Jane Austen July, and hopefully we can maybe find a new love in here and enjoy this one a lot. And I'll be watching the movie Emma right after reading this one because it's been a while. So it is much later today. It is 11 o'clock at night, but I have read a Jane Austen book. One second. Hopefully that gets the light glare out of my eyes. But I have read a Jane Austen book, which was neither of the books I told you about. So I read The Wrong Mr. Darcy by Evelyn Lorenzo. I think that's her name. This is an ARC that I received 2 years ago, and I heard bad reviews of it, or I looked up online and it has a very bad rating, so I chose to not read it when I was supposed to. So I since have read it, and I agree with the ratings and reviews. I think the average rank is like a 2.8. Yeah, it's supposed to be a Pride and Prejudice retelling. I think the only things that are really reminiscent, I think the only thing that's reminiscent of Jane Austen and Pride and Prejudice is that there's a character named Darcy. And that there's a lot of pride in there, and a lot of assumptions. That's about it. The characters were not reminiscent of other characters. There were confusing plot lines. None of it was predictable. And when it comes to retelling, you kind of need some predictability. For example, I haven't read this one yet. This is Possibilities. This is one I'm also on my TBR for the month. And this one is a retelling of Persuasion. So I expect walking into this one, I know that this one should contain two people who used to be together in a relationship and were torn apart. And then they see each other again. There is tension. They are not together for a while. And then the book brings them together. This is what I predict because of what it's based on. Pride and Prejudice, I predict certain elements because of what the book is based on. That's not the case with The Wrong Mr. Darcy. It was not what the book was supposed to be based on what happened. It follows Hera, who is half Japanese American and half African American, and her father is in prison, and so she is a reporter, and a lot of the book talks about her and her father's relationship. And she gets this really big, amazing deal to write a newspaper article about this one basketball player from Boston. She's a sports writer, and she really wants to be moving forward in that particular field of newspapers or newspaper reporting. Then you also have Derek Darcy, who is a basketball player, an NBA player, and he has been sitting out on the bench because of an injury, and he's finally back in the game. That's kind of the two people, but it's just so different than anything else. I'm gonna kind of go into what I didn't like about it now-ish, but before I do, I will say I'm not a big sports reader, so if you like reading about sports elements, that might be something you'd enjoy, a sports Jane Austen retelling. However, I don't feel like it's super retelling-ish, so if that's something you enjoy sports-wise, that might be a book for you to try out. I don't know. I personally wouldn't say that this is a Jane Austen retelling I'd recommend, but it's up to you. So I'm gonna just kind of spoil what I really want to talk about right now with this book, because I feel like I have to say it and I can't just not say it. One of the things that I really struggled with this book is that when you're reading it, you know who the characters are. You know that Darcy has a best friend named Charles Bingley in Pride and Prejudice, at least if you know Pride and Prejudice. And that's a big factor of the book, right? Like that's how Pride and Prejudice is set up and how they get to know people. There's even a character in the book whose last name is Bingley, and she's quite awful like Caroline is, which I thought was great. But the character of Charles Butler in the book is like portrayed as Darcy's best friend. He is Darcy's best friend. He's Derek Darcy's best friend, and they are both basketball players together. Now, the whole thing about this book is that it goes basically around an entire NBA scandal where they're rigging games and a whole level of craziness. But what I didn't like was that basically in this one, it was combined Charles Bingley, the character, and Mr. Wickham, the character, into Charles Butler. And I really didn't like that because in Pride and Prejudice, George Wickham's the villain. He's the bad guy. He's the guy that Darcy hates with everything in him. And Charles Bingley is his best friend. And yet you put them together and they are supposed to be one character. It doesn't work. It just didn't work in this, and I really didn't like that. Everyone else was like unrecognizable when it came to characters in Pride and Prejudice, even a retelling form. There was no Jane-like character. If you wanted to go for a Jane-like character, there was a character named Naomi who Charles was sleeping with, and he got pregnant, and yet that's when he turned into his Wickham side, where he didn't care if she got an abortion or not, and where he just wanted her to, you know, basically disappear because that meant that he was not going to get in more trouble. And I was like, I am officially over this character. So I am giving it a 2-star. It wasn't a horrible like readability, which is I think the only pro in its way. I really also have one more aggravating point for me, is that every chapter had a header of like the number and then it had a Jane Austen quote. And I'm like, you cannot use Jane Austen quotes and be so blatantly ignoring of the plot of Jane Austen. So frustrating. So yeah, no on the wrong Mr. Darcy for me. It's a 2-star for sure. Not a 1-star, I don't think, because there were some things, if I could ignore the Jane Austen part of it, I was okay with certain elements. But since it's Jane Austen, I can't give it higher than a 2. But yeah, I'm just not, I'm not. So I'm going to be thankfully done that one. I'm thankfully done another arc, and thankfully done my retelling. I still am interested in the Murder of Mr. Wickham, but I was starting to develop a little bit of a headache. And so I decided that it'd be easiest to read with the lights off on an e-reader format. So I read my Kindle version of The Wrong Mr. Darcy. That's why I went to that one instead. So I will be maybe reading The Murder of Mr. Wickham later on. I don't know, but I feel like for day one to read probably, I hope, the worst book I've read, or I will read in the month of July. I think that's a good way to start off the month so I can keep going up. But yeah, I just want to give you full thoughts on that arc, because it is an arc that I should have read 2 years ago and given thoughts on. But now officially it has been read. So that's the end of my Friday. Tomorrow we have the live stream for the Count of Monte Cristo in the morning. And then aside from that, I don't really have any big plans. I am excited to just kind of settle into, I don't know, maybe listening to an audiobook of Emma. Maybe, I don't know, maybe going out. It's supposed to be like really hot. We're entering this heat wave now. Summer's officially here. In this area of BC, it's been like rain all the time. It's like been like spring for so long, even though now it's finally July and it has been strange. So maybe it'll be nice to get in the pool a bit. I'm not sure, but I'm excited to at least listen to some Emma. Maybe I'll read something else. That's like my ebook of the Regency Women, so nonfiction. But yes, I finished at least one Jane Austen book so far. So it is Saturday morning. I am getting ready to live stream for the Count of Monte Cristo. right here. My computer likes to throw fits, so I get ready really early in case it's deciding to not be cooperative. But it's cooperating right now, so I'm not gonna turn off my computer in case it decides to throw a fit in the next like 20 minutes. And then I would not be able to do the live stream. That's my problems with my computer. It's not fun. But I have done a little bit of reading. So last night I read while going to sleep. I put on my audiobook of The Vindication of the Rights of Women. I figured that's the only way I can really like get through that thing, you know, intentionally. So I put it on, and I, to be honest, didn't really understand what I was listening to. So I need to re-listen to it, to be honest. That's something I need to prioritize. So I will be re-listening to The Vindication of the Rights of Women, or rereading it. I'm only in chapter 2, so I'm not like that far ahead. But yeah, so that's something I decided to start, and I don't know what else I'll be doing before or after. I will show you my lovely book haul that I need to film today, because that's a mess. It's a bunch of books that are all on the table right by my computer where I'm like gonna do my live stream. So it's a lot. Let me just show you. So these are all the books I have to show on my haul, which you'll see before this video, I hope. And if not, you get a sneak peek. So yeah, that's something I have to film today, because I was waiting until like June 30th, so I knew I wouldn't buy anything new or buy anything after that point, because this is my 6-month haul. So now officially this is it. So I'm ready to film. I'm all made up, which is not my normal life. And I think I'm gonna go grab a book, because I have about a half hour till live stream. So I'm gonna go grab maybe The Murder of Mr Wickham. I might also just try reading The Vindication of the Rights of Women, since I have a like dedicated time right now. And then I will see what I read, and I only have limited time. So I'm gonna just prioritize that until we start talking about the Count of Monte Cristo. And then after that, yeah, I'm gonna try getting some other things done over the weekend, but I will also be really prioritizing the audiobook of Emma, I think, because that one sounds the most intimidating to me of Jane Austen's books, and I would really like to just like get it done, you know? So not in a bad way, but still, you know, knock that one off of my bucket list for the month. So that's it. I'm gonna be live streaming very soon, but until then, probably reading something maybe a little daunting. Here we are, waiting and waiting for another 17.5 minutes. So we are done live streaming. I think it's time to film a book haul before I sit down and get comfy reading. I did read a little bit in here. This is way more than it looks like. It was like 70 pages worth of an introduction, which I didn't read, but I think I read like 15, 20 pages, so it's good so far. But I'm gonna start now with my book haul, because it's gonna be a process, and I'd rather just get it over with, to be perfectly honest. Or maybe I should do my wrap up. Either way, I'm gonna do something for tomorrow's video, and then we'll, yeah, I'll be reading later. So it is 1:30 now on July 2nd. I filmed my book haul, which was 40 minutes long, and a ginormous pile of books. So I'm feeling really tired because of live streaming for over an hour, which is great, but staring at a computer screen for that long without taking time away hurts my eyes. And then on top of that, staring at my phone screen while filming for 40 minutes right after was not great. So I've done that. Now I am going to be, I don't know, I've been just resting my eyes. I have been reading some Jane Austen, like Pride and Prejudice fan fiction. So just doing some of that, just because it's fun and I don't have to work too hard with my brain, because that's something I've read before. But I think I'll put on an audiobook now and just rest. Yeah, that's all I kind of want to do. I just don't want to do too much. So that's kind of my idea. But yeah, I did film. I do need to do other stuff this afternoon, but I was kind of hoping that maybe I will be able to, I don't know, maybe make some progress on some things. I also got my audiobook of Caribbean Mystery from the library, so I might do an Agatha Christie thing too. We'll see. But I'm gonna throw on an audiobook and continue to let my brain decompress. Good morning. It is Sunday. I ended up not listening to any audiobooks yesterday. I was having a bad migraine day, which is strange because Saturdays seem to be now the day where I just physically can't do anything. And I don't know why. But I did listen to one chapter of Emma this morning while getting ready for the day. I have started this one and I'm enjoying it so far. So chapter 1 was good. And I am excited to continue on with this one as my audiobook. It is tempting though, because I have been listening to a great course one called the Medieval Ages or something like that. And I have 10 hours left and I keep wanting to listen to that one instead. So I'm promising myself if I finish Emma, I can listen to the great courses. So it's kind of a reward system I'm doing for myself. So that's what I picked up. I also realized last night I have not put on my TBR in like Flynn, which is the new Molly Murphy book that I need to read. It's not new, but the next one I need to read for the Kate Howe book. I don't know, I said Jane Austen or whatever. For the Kate Howe book club that we are doing like this series read along. And I didn't put that on my TBR, so I need to, read that eventually. So there's that one. And then I was just thinking, what to do today. I need to get ready, like clean up the house, do everything, because I basically yesterday just lay on the couch and watched a bunch of Golden Girls, to be honest, and it was wonderful. I was laughing hysterically, and I'm so glad I have started to love Golden Girls. But I will be listening to Emma while I clean the house and while I put away all the books from my book haul. There's so many books in that book haul. I counted them up and I challenge everyone to watch the video and guess at the beginning of the video how many books I hauled. The answer's at the end of the video. But yeah, it's a lot. So I need to put all the books on the bookshelves. I need to clean up those things. I have books everywhere. I need to, do dishes because I didn't do dishes yesterday. I need to just do laundry and all the adult things that, people do. So that's my today plans, and all of those thankfully are accomplished by listening to an audiobook. So I'll be listening to Emma while doing that. But first I have to go to church and do nursery. So I am helping out in the nursery even though my migraine is killing me. It's fine. It's going to be good. I have helpers and it will be good. I'm the lead nursery person today. So I'm going to be doing that. And then I will be home after. Hopefully it doesn't rain too bad. The rain is predicted and it's like maybe thunderstorms. So yay for me. That's not a good yay. That means I'm going to have bad migraines. So hopefully I can get through today and hopefully it will be a very successful, after church cleanup of the house kind of day too. Anyways, I'm going to get off to church, or at least have some breakfast first, and then I will chat with you later. Hopefully I can knock out a bunch of Emma. I have 10 hours left in the audiobook when I'm sped up right now. I might speed it up more and then that we'll see, but I could finish that till today. I don't know, but I'll finish a good chunk of it. So I'll let you know how I'm feeling throughout the day about it. I just got home from church, but I've been listening to the audio while driving and it's annoying me of Emma. I'm at the part right now where Emma and Harriet are discussing Mr. Martin, and what Emma is basically, she's slandering him. She's saying he's uncouth. Maybe the slander's a bit harsh, but she's saying that he is going to be an awful older man. He's so awkward and he's clearly awful compared to the men that Harriet is now connected with. And I am just, this is my problem with Emma. I know that this is her character flaw, which is the point of her. But I'm just so tired of her being this way already. And I'm kind of worried that I'm not going to enjoy the rest of the book already. But I am interested. It is interesting to think that Emma is 21, Harriet is 17. So obviously Harriet is more naive. I thought it was interesting that it said that Harriet has no friends, and yet she had these friends, the Martins, and Emma's people are so beneath her. It's ugh. I think it's more annoying to me as a fact because I
and I'm not bragging or anything. I just was not that kind of a 20-year-old. I was not kind of 21-year-old. I had friends who would come up to me and ask for romance advice. And I was like, just talk to each other. Like, just deal with it. It's not your business what the other people want to do. So I was definitely not an Emma person. And I am so annoyed with Emma being different from me, which is, I don't know. It's just really weird to think that this is how, I mean, she's been raised to do this. Like, she's been raised to do whatever she wants. Mrs. Weston or Miss Taylor from before never corrected her. I did enjoy the fact that it said that Mr. Knightley was the only one who ever corrected Emma, so there's that. But yeah, I was definitely not an Emma kind of person, like a meddler, matchmaker, anything like that. I was very much a hands-off. Like, people would come to me and I'd be like, keep me out of it. You talk to each other. So I'm struggling right now, but I am now getting through it, and I am enjoying Knightley more because I can see his perspective a lot better. And it's just interesting because I read the book when I was about Emma's age. So I don't know why I didn't like Emma or Knightley then, but I can see why I didn't like Emma then, because I was definitely not an Emma person at that time in my life, and I don't think I ever have been. So yeah, it's interesting. It's just an angry sky and thunderstorms predicted. Nothing like a migraine-inducing day. So I have been resting. I am not feeling well. The weather is clearly messing with me right now. I have a lot to do. So my timer's gone off. It's time for me to try to be productive before I go back into my nest for a limited amount of time. I think that's how I'm just gonna get through the day. So I'm gonna put on some Emma now. I've been trying to listen to it while I can focus, which is not always, but right now I'm gonna put it on while I'm moving around and hopefully feeling okay. But here we go for Sunday cleanup and awful thunderstorms. Hello, it is Monday night. I just got back from work and I have a delivery from a book depository, but it's strange because my book isn't really protected. I'm a little confused about it, but I figured I'd show you what I ordered, seeing as I'm excited about it. And it's a little damaged. That's also not great. Anyways, I feel so sweaty. It's been really smuggy today, so I'm sorry. Anyways, I ordered 2 more Ira Levin books. I've been in love with his writing from the first 2 books I read, which were Boys from Brazil and A Kiss Before Dying. So I found the Stepford Wives, and I also found Rosemary's Baby, which I will be reading in August. So this will be really fun, but I'm not happy about that. But I was really surprised to find the Stepford Wives was also his work, so not surprising. Though once I realized it was, I'm like, that kind of makes sense from what I've read so far. But I picked up these 2, and I had to get them in these editions because I have my other 2 in this edition. I've lent my copy out of Kiss Before Dying before, well, for my coworker who loves reading, and I thought she'd love it, but I have this one as well, so you see they all match, and A Kiss Before Dying is in the exact same edition too, so I'm excited that now I have these 2 to add to my Ira Levin reading TBR. So this will be in August, and maybe I can squeeze this one in and I can read an Ira Levin a month. I don't know. I have a lot of books though I need to read, so I don't think I'll be squeezing in the Stepford Wives this month unless I happen to have time. So I did not read any more last night. I tried listening to Pride and Prejudice, and then I found myself just paying attention and not falling asleep. I tried listening to the next Bible book, which is Isaiah, which I'm supposed to be on my chronological journey with, and I kept paying attention and not falling asleep. So eventually I just had to put on some YouTube puzzles, and I was just, puts me to sleep. I don't know. I enjoy watching them when I'm not asleep, but it also is something that just like is not mind focusing for me when I just listen. So that's what I did. I didn't listen to anything as I went to bed then. But tonight I am going to continue listening to Emma. I do need to finish up around the house because it was not completed yesterday. I did like an hour and 15 minutes of laundry, which tired my back out a lot, but I think I have about an hour and a half left of work if I don't include all my bookshelves, which I'm not going to. I'm gonna start working on it, but I'm not going to do a whole bookshelf reorganization yet. Let me know if you'd like me to do that with you, because I think that's gonna be a giant project. I also messaged Tris because I forgot to read this one all for the weekend, and they forgot to read it as well. So I will be reading this one or trying to read it tonight if possible. I'm not sure how many pages are in this one. Hopefully it's not too long. It's 160. So not long at all, but I'm going to be prioritizing my cleaning as opposed to my reading. But I will be bringing this to work if I don't finish it tonight, so I can read it on my lunch break. But I'm going to clean up some books, do some dishes because I didn't get to that last night, and finish off the last few things. Then hopefully in an hour and a half I'll be done, because tomorrow night I have invited my Bible study group over for a fun night. So I just wanted to do it like a nice, really good clean of my apartment because that's always nice to get done. But yeah, so those are my plans for the night, and hopefully I can get through a bit more of Emma. I have reached the end point of Mr. Elton proposing to Emma, but that's where I'm at. So I am about 28% in. I think that's what Goodreads said when I typed in my numbers. So I'm excited about that one. I'm excited I made that much progress in just a day, and I will be plugging along with it. I am enjoying it. I just need to get over my dislike of Emma's bossiness, maybe. But anyways, yeah, I'm just gonna keep listening, and I'll check in later. So good night, or hello. Tuesday. It is 11 o'clock at night. It's been a good day. I had my Bible study ladies over. It was fun to just chat and catch up after we haven't been meeting for Bible study every week. So that was good. Since then, I have read The Case of the Cryptic Crinoline by Nancy Springer. This one is book 5 in the Enola Holmes series, and I'm reading this with Chris from Chris's Corner. I'll link their channel down below. Like I mentioned before, I'm sure. This one is getting a 4-star. It's really an interesting idea because in this one, Enola's landlady is kidnapped. And it all is tied to Florence Nightingale, and it's really interesting. So this was actually a really good pick for my Mrs. Peacock prompt because Florence Nightingale is a bird named Nightingale, so pretty good choice. This also had a little bit of a political pull, so I think it was working well. The reason it works well is because Mrs. Peacock is a political figure according to the lore that I use for my character choosing. That's why. So I only have one complaint with this, and it is a spoiler in a little way. And I'm gonna kind of just like, it doesn't spoil the mystery, it doesn't spoil anything like that. It's something that happens in the book. So I'm gonna just kind of talk about it. There is a situation here where Florence Nightingale is pretending to be an invalid because she does not want to be with people. She doesn't want to have the social niceties that she has to do. And that really rubs me the wrong way because so often people think that people with disabilities or people with chronic illnesses or chronic pain are faking it. And I think books like this don't mean to, but they can create that idea still, or can help contribute to the idea that people fake pain, people fake chronic illness, people fake situations because they don't want to they just don't want to hang out. They just don't want to do things that they're required to do. And that's what this book was kind of, I think, unintentionally doing. So it triggered me. It's a trigger of mine when people have that in books, or when it's a thing. So that happened in this book. So it's a 4-star book. Really great book, but I think it's just an unintentional way of contributing to the disability is being faked mindset without people realizing it. So just something in case you want to know that. This is book 5. I do think it's worth reading though. Not saying that it's not. I was just kind of not happy when I read that, but I'm okay to overlook it because I know it's not something to ignore completely, but that's why I brought it up, and to acknowledge that that's not okay. So yes, this one's done, and we'll be reading The Gypsy Goodbye soon. But I just want to finish that one off. I haven't finished anything else reading-wise. I'm going to be heading to bed and getting some sleep. Not been sleeping much lately. I think I've been getting like 5 hours of sleep each night because my brain just won't turn off, and it's very tiring. So before I yawn and make everyone who's watching this sleep, I'm gonna go to bed. So good night. Tomorrow is Wednesday, and then it'll be almost the end of this first week's vlog. I think I will be doing this until Fridays. I think that's gonna be my end date for these. But anyways, I'm gonna go to sleep. So good night. Hello, Wednesday night. I am not doing very good at vlogging in the morning because I'm very tired. It is now about 6. I went swimming after work, so I am wet, but I felt like I, 1, need to start going in the pool after work, and 2, needed some refreshing things, because today at work we were really down in staff, and thankfully down in numbers with kids, but I'm advised by myself. And definitely that means a little bit more work, just because, you know, you're doing all the work yourself. You're not having to share the load with anyone. But I did manage to read a bit more of Anne of Ingleside, and I am planning on finishing that tonight because I just want to get it done, which is really the best way for me to look at that book, but that is the truth. And I also have plans tonight to watch Big Brother, which is starting up tonight. Very excited. And I have also big plans on starting to read The Murder of Mr Wickham, because I really do want to finish that book before Friday. I really would like to have that done. I think that'll be a really amazing book. So I have a few reading things I'd like to do tonight. So now that I'm refreshed, I'm gonna have some dinner, and then I'm gonna get some reading done. But yeah, I did get some of Anne of Ingleside done, but nothing else so far. So it is now 10-ish at night. I think just after 10, but I have finished Anne of Ingleside. I'm giving it 3 stars because it just took so long for me to read. It was not a great addition to the series. It was good, but it was just slow to read. It was just really hard for me to get through. And I don't know why, but it was just really hard. So the next one in the series is Rainbow Valley, which I do need to read this month. I'm gonna take a bit of a break from that, but I haven't read anything else yet since that, finishing it off. Took me a little while. I read it in between, like on the commercial breaks in between Big Brother, so that was good. I enjoyed the first episode of that. I enjoy how they are doing the first HOH style, I think, but yeah. So I will be now getting ready for bed. I have started the process. I'm gonna start winding down, and in order to start winding down, I'm gonna, I think, read maybe a bit of The Murder of Mr Wickham, just so I can decompress a little. And then, yeah, today was really hectic and very tiring because of work being just, not in a bad way, like, it wasn't overwhelmingly too much, but at the same time, it was a lot, and we managed fine. It was good. I got my break, but it's still tiring when you are the sole adult in the room for the whole day. It's a lot. So yeah, I'm happy to go to bed tonight, to say the least. So who knows how long I'm gonna last, if I even read a lot, but that's maybe the plan. Maybe put on Emma as an audiobook, which actually, as I'm thinking of it, sounds like a really good option right now. But I will be bringing the Murder of Mr Wickham to work with me tomorrow for my lunch break, so I can read it then. If I get a lunch break, I hope it works out. I'm sure it will. Fingers crossed. I'm gonna knock on some wood though. There we go. Just to make sure I didn't ruin plans. But yeah, I'm sure everything's gonna be great, but I think a good night's sleep is what I need. I'm glad I finished Anne of Ingleside. It was just dragging out, and it just, yeah. The thing about it is that it's a lot about Anne's children, because as the series progressed, we're following a lot more of her as like she's gone through her life. And this book was written in like the 40s, so it's written a good amount after the rest of the series. And this one follows a lot of her children and the children's experiences. And as much as it was great to read about them, and I love how the children are written, it's not about Anne. And the reason why we love the Anne series is because of Anne. So I don't know. It's difficult for me to pinpoint why it's just such a hard book for me to read, at least. But yeah, so I finished it. I've been reading it for several weeks now, trying to get through it, and it's just been a book that's been dragging on me, so I'm glad I'm done it now. But I will be continuing on with the series later this month, and now I'm gonna decompress and go to sleep maybe very soon, hopefully very soon, and not stay up till like midnight. Like, my brain has been keeping me awake till, because it's not been fun, and I've been trying to sleep. So yes, but it's been a good day, I would say, overall. And it's not a bad thing that I finished off a book too, even if it's not Jane Austen July book. But I will make some progress on a Jane Austen book tonight, and I think, as I'm thinking, Emma sounds like a really good choice right now. So I'll probably pop that one on and listen to some more Emma. Hello, it is Friday afternoon at like 4 o'clock, but I am home because I apparently got whatever stomach bug is going around work, and I am feeling a little queasy after not doing so great at work earlier. So I came home early. I have been relaxing, and I have not been able to focus on a book, which may be explaining why I've also not been able to read a lot the last couple days. So that might be a reason. I am hoping that I can knock this out, get better, because I was hoping to drive to see my sister tomorrow, my sister and brother-in-law, but I don't know, we'll see. But yeah, I just wanted to update you and say I'm sick, so maybe that's why. I have listened to more of Emma. I'm at the part now where Frank Churchill is trying to get a ball to happen, and all I want to do is yell at Frank or yell at Jane Fairfax and say, run. That's all I want to do. But I have noticed that in Emma, there's a lot of class distinction being discussed, and I think it's really a book about class in a lot of ways, which I think is really interesting. Hadn't noticed that, I guess, the first time around, and now that I know more about the class system, I do. But anyways, yeah, reading that, listening on audio seems to be the best way, and hopefully I'll listen to some more today as well. I have about 6 hours left of the audiobook, 5 hours maybe, so I don't know. We'll see how much I get done, but anyways, I'm hoping I can be somewhat better in a reasonable amount of time, but hiding out, trying to get better fast is not fun. 7:45 at night on Friday, and I'm still not feeling good, so I have not read. But I have been binge watching Survivor, the old show on demand, so I hope I can, I don't know, I've been wanting something that I don't need to pay attention to very well, since I know the end result. But yeah, just want to check in and say I'm not feeling good still. Also, I did film my wrap up for June. It's not ready to go and get edited yet, because apparently the way I do it is just like really slow sometimes to be uploaded. So there's that. But I did film it, It's very short though, which is nice because I was not feeling good. And it did help that I vlogged 4 videos or 5 books of that in a video. My English is gone. I'm going to turn off the camera and hopefully get some sleep tonight because I've not been able to eat today without it not turning out well. And so when that happens, I'm so hungry, but I'm also so scared to eat. So I hope I can eat. And then maybe hopefully I can sleep and not be super sick tomorrow. Fingers crossed. Hi, it is Saturday afternoon around like 12-ish. I am now feeling better a little bit. It was a really bad night, no sleep, very poor sleep if I got what I got. And I am very thankful that I don't know, canceled some plans, but tomorrow the circus is in town. I don't remember ever going to like a normal circus. I went to Circus Soleil once and I wanted to go to the circus. So I booked a ticket for tomorrow, hoping I'll still feel good for tomorrow night, but I don't know, here's hoping. Now that I'm finally feeling good enough, I'm gonna probably try to read because I think my brain can take it in now. But it was a really rough 24 hours. Like from when I started feeling sick to now, 24 hours, it's been rough. So I'm very hungry because I haven't eaten much, but I'm very thankful that I am getting over whatever that strange thing was. And yeah, hopefully I do not relapse into it later today. That's my only hope. So I will be hopefully picking up some things to read. I really did want to read this and I forgot it at work probably because I was starting to get sick. So I will be trying to read this today. And then I also have my audiobook of Emma, but I might also just read physically. So we'll see. But I am making decent progress in that one. So anyways, just wanted to check in and say I'm feeling better. Time to start reading, I hope. And I hope I can sleep well tonight because I would really like to not be up every hour and a half. That would just be lovely. It is 5 o'clock, or actually 6 o'clock now. On Saturday, I am feeling better. I just watched Danny from Smelly Speaks live stream and having her update about her life now. And that was great to, hear how she's doing. Before that, I was reading The Murder of Mr Wickham, which I got 50 pages in, which isn't bad for me. I was reading very slowly, and I think it's just my brain today. But I am enjoying it. I find it to be very interesting considering all the characters are impacted directly by Mr. Wickham. So in case you didn't know the synopsis of this, I only have 50 pages in. And so I feel like that's okay for me to tell you what's going on completely and not have spoilers in here. So I hope that's okay. I should say before anything else, there will be a jump cut now because I'm sorry, I'm going to spoil a lot of Jane Austen books here. So just so you know. Anyways, so in this book, we have Emma and Mr. Knightley who are married and who have been married for several years. They are hosting several people at the same time on accident. So Mr. Darcy and Mr. Knightley were best friends or were friends at Oxford. So Mr. Knightley invited the Darcys over for a time for a visit, and they're bringing with them their young sons. So it's Darcy, Elizabeth, and their son Jonathan, who is very reminiscent of Darcy at the beginning of the book. I'm almost wondering if he's being displayed as someone with autism. I would just need to read more into that, but very interesting. And then we also have the Wentworths, so Anne and Frederick. I almost said Frank. That's not the right name. Anne and Frederick. So they are renting Hartfield because they have lost a significant amount of money due to bad investments and bad dealing with his prize money, with Wentworth's prize money after his battles and all those things. You also have Edmund and Fanny who are coming because I believe Edmund is he the cousin of I don't know if he's the cousin of Emma, but definitely they are inviting Colonel Brandon because Colonel Brandon is Emma's cousin and he just got married to Marianne. So this is a very new marriage, like 5 months in. And I find it very interesting that they are very awkward with each other, and Marianne is not sure how she feels about him, which I feel like is very good for what the book is about in Sense and Sensibility, which I still have yet to read this month. And then you also have, let's see, what other couples am I missing? You do not have the Northanger Abbey couple in here because you have their daughter Juliet. So Juliet Tilney has been invited to come and spend time there just because her friends, so her mother's friend is Emma, and they are just invited her over there. But basically, I think Emma's matchmaking again, but Emma and Jonathan, not Emma, Juliet and Jonathan, who is young Mr. Darcy. So it's this awkward family or awkward house party where they all don't really have a lot in common. All the people are there from the books, and it is definitely uncomfortable for the men, at least. However, during their first dinner, Mr. Wickham rides up and he shows up at the door and it's pouring rain and he is required to stay the night as by proper decency. And after 54 pages in, we have learned that he has basically legally swindled money out of John and Isabella, so Emma's sister and brother-in-law, and then also out of the Wentworths, and also he has probably direct relationships with anyone who's involved with the military. So probably Colonel Brandon has something to do with him, I think. It's very interesting so far. And we also know that Fanny has some connection with her brother who is in the Navy, and she's hiding a secret. And I have a feeling it's about Wickham as well. So it's really interesting. Wickham is very rich now off of people's bribery, or not bribery, but poor investments with him. I hope that's better. My arm is getting sore. But yes, so this one is very interesting. You can tell that all of the couples have a reason to dislike him. And it's really interesting how Fanny and Edmund are, because Fanny is thoroughly in love with him, but she doesn't think he loves her back the same way, which is valid, I think, in the book. I hope that this will maybe reveal more, maybe. We also have Colonel Brandon and Marianne, who Marianne is in love with him because of his love for her. I think that's also an interesting point. We also have the Wentworths, who are now in a more impoverished state. And the reason why they're spending the time there is because Hartfield has had a house repair needed. So they are also staying at the house. So all of the couples in Jane Austen's world are all there, except for the Tilneys, which is interesting, to still have a Tilney representative. And I'm wondering how this is going to play out. I don't know what's going to happen. Obviously, Mr. Wickham is going to die. He's not dead yet, but he's not able to leave because of the constant rain. So I am just wondering, when is he going to die? What's going to happen? And obviously, who killed him? Is it one of the 6 couples or one of the people who are in Jane Austen's books? Is it someone else? I don't know, but I am excited and I am enjoying this a lot. I do think it's a little off point for a couple characters with where they were at in the book, but I am excited to see where this goes forward with the different characters as well. So I am enjoying this one. I've also been reading Emma. I am 41% according to my ebook. So I have now switched to ebook because it's just easier for me to hold and read. So yeah, I'm reading that one now, and it is still not great. I still don't like Frank Churchill. I think that's another reason why I struggle with this book, is because he's very much a villain in almost ways to me. He's like a good guy kind of villain. And I don't like him. Like, Elton's obviously the bad guy, but in this one you have Elton is obviously, you know, just out there for the money. He's obviously just wanting to raise himself in stature. But then you have Frank Churchill, who, I'm going to spoil this book. So sorry. You have Frank Churchill, who is purposely mocking Jane, who he's engaged to, and saying that she's ugly, or not, that her complexion's lacking, and that he's flirting with Emma. And And he appears to be a good guy. And I can see why Knightley is like, no, don't do anything with him. And I can see why Knightley was distraught at the thought of them together. But at the same time, I'm like, Frank is really like, I don't know, kind of like a Willoughby, where he feels good at the beginning, and then I just feel creeped out by him knowing what he's actually doing and how he's tormenting the woman he's supposedly in love with. He didn't need to do all these extra steps, even if his aunt didn't approve of the relationship. So I'm not happy with Frank Churchill. So those are the things I'm currently reading today. I did start a couple ebooks, but I'm not going to continue in them right now. I am feeling a bit better, like I said. So I was watching Ocean's 12 for a bit, and then Ocean's 13 while I was just reading off of it. I could rewatch the Ocean series for eternity. I just could. So yeah, definitely loved finding that on TV today. But it is 6 o'clock, like I said. So tonight I have plans to hopefully finish this one on ebook. That would be nice. And then I can round out this. I feel like I've only read 3 books. So I feel like I haven't read a lot, but that's okay. I also need to read Count of Monte Cristo for next weekend. So I'm behind the 8 ball a little bit. And I feel like getting sick kind of put me there because I just didn't feel like capable of reading. So I'm hoping that I can get on top of it tonight in a small way, and then maybe things will get better. But that's all to say. I'll keep you updated on these 2 when I finish them. They're both inside out. That's fine. I'll update you later. I have been reading more into Emma, and I just want to make a note because I think this is something I have noticed a lot with my reading of Emma this time around. Is I think I mentioned earlier, it's a lot about class. There's so many class distinctions, people trying to break into the other class level, like from trade into gentry, but there's also so many people who are like, Emma especially is so concerned about this, which I find interesting because she is pushing Harriet up and above her class, whereas she really should be grateful that Robert Martin wanted to be with her, considering her class. And now she's really upset, at least where I am, where she's like talking with Mrs. Weston about the fact that Jane Fairfax might be the one who catches Mr. Knightley's eye. And she's so furious because of Jane's status in life. And it's fascinating to me because she's talking to a woman who was a governess and who is now married into a very high class. It's very interesting to me how this works in Emma's mind. It's almost like the class distinctions are very important. Like, she cannot visit the Coles because they would expect her to visit them, and that would be inappropriate for their class. But she is all for the class thing to go away if she is agreeing to the match, like Mrs. Weston and Mr. Weston, or Harriet and Mr. Elton. She has no problems whatsoever as long as she is in on the trick or whatever. But she refuses to go visit the Coles or have them be expecting her to come. She refuses to even consider the idea that Jane could be the one who Mr. Knightley is interested in because of her class status. It's interesting. I didn't think that this book would have so much to do about class systems and structures, and it has a lot. And Emma, being 21, she seems to have very big opinions on what is right and what is wrong, and at the same time she contradicts herself. So just a thought. By the way, I'm watching baseball. Well, listening to baseball while I read it, because it's just easier for me to focus on my book if I have something going on in the background. So baseball it is right now. It is 11 o'clock on Saturday night. I am ready for bed, but I am not going to go to bed yet because I have to edit this whole vlog and post it for Sunday morning. However, I did finish Emma. I am giving it, I think, a 4-star again, or what I used to do as well. It doesn't give me a 5-star feel, but I still love Jane Austen. And I feel like this book brought up a lot of feelings for me I didn't expect. I have, as I was reading this book this evening, I
have lots of feelings on Frank Churchill. So that will be a video coming out next week. Or I guess the following week of Sunday, about Frank Churchill. And I hope that you check it out. But I definitely have some thoughts on Frank Churchill, and I started just tabbing everything that I saw. So I did that, but it was really interesting, and I am really glad that I have read it overall. I think it was well worth the reread, especially 8 years later. So that was the end of it. The other books that I have read in this vlog, I read The Wrong Mr. Darcy. I read The Cryptic, Case of the Cryptic Crinoline. The Wrong Mr. Darcy got 2 stars, which was my Jane Austen retelling for the month, officially, I guess. So I have checked off that official prompt, even though I will be reading, not that I read more of it today, but I will be reading this one still. And then I have read The Case of the Cryptic Crinoline with Chris from Chris's Corner, and I'll link their channel down below, along with Danny from Smiley Speaks, who I mentioned earlier. I'm just gonna go on my Goodreads and find out the other one. And the other one that I finished was Anne of Ingleside by Ellen Montgomery, and that one I gave 3 stars to, I think. Yeah, 3 stars. It was okay. Definitely feeling bogged down in that series, but I'm hoping it'll pick up with Rainbow Valley, so we'll see. But those are my 4 books that I read in the first 9 days, which seems an awful little compared to the normal amount that I read, but I'm gonna be happy about it, considering I read Emma, which is the book I haven't read the longest of Jane Austen's works. So I'm pretty happy with that. And I will be posting an actual dedicated review video of that as well, not just my Frank Churchill video. So 2 videos coming up about Emma very soon. So thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this vlog, please subscribe. I will be doing another one next week, and you can also hit that notification bell. Also, if you enjoyed this video, you can like it and leave a comment down below about your first week of July, Jane Austen July, whether you read something like that or if you read something different. I'd love to chat about the first week. Thank you so much for watching. Bye for now.